Hey everybody, it's Kat Neville. I am the publisher of Feast here in St. Louis, and we are going live with our second of three happy half hours that we're hosting with our friends from Luxco. Hey everybody, I see you waving at me. We are up for some pretty fun cocktails again with Dustin Paris. He is there. And there he is. I see you. Are you there, Dustin? Oh, we're waiting for him. We have three really fun cocktails on tap this time. A daiquiri. Hey, there you are.
There's most of me anyway. How we doing today?
Cut your head off.
There you go.
How's it
How
going?
you doing?
Did you have a good week?
I did. It was quite wonderful. Enjoyed the good weather while I could, and getting ready for the rain. But it's just teasing me so far.
Well, it sounds like it's about time for a cocktail.
Absolutely. So, and all this nice weather really got me inspired. So we're gonna do some of my favorite summer drinks today, with a little bit of a brunch theme, and then we're also just gonna do one of my favorite shots because today has been that kind of day. So here we go.
I hear you. So the first one that we're going to do is using your Rebel Yell bourbon. Is that right?
Absolutely. This is one of our core brands that comes out of Lux Row Distillers, where we make Ezra Brooks, David Nicholson, and Rebel Yell. We also blend our Blood Oath flavor whiskeys there. So yeah, this is our wheated mash bill. We talked last week about how we have two major mash bills. Our Ezra Brooks uses rye. Our Rebel Yell uses a wheat. So.
And we also talked about how the wheat gives it more of a sweet flavor than the rye. The rye makes it more spicy.
Absolutely. Those rye flavors come in hot and heavy, hit you right on the tip of your tongue whenever you start drinking it. But those wheated bourbons, they just build on the palate. So I just put 2 ounces of Rebel Yell in here. And I'm going to make you one of my, I'm going to call them famous at this point, one of my famous Rebel Yell pineapple daiquiris. All right, so we're going straight summer right now.
But wait a second. Okay, so Dustin, obviously daiquiris normally call for rum, but you're using whiskey bourbon. So explain.
You bet. So, bourbon being the most regulated spirit in the world, there are more things you have to do to be a bourbon than anything else. You don't see a lot of spectrum. We've done a lot to change that. Blood Oath out of Lux Row Distillers being a huge leader in innovation and creating new flavors in whiskey. But, you're so pigeonholed, it's hard to do something new. And wheated bourbons, while not unheard of, are more rare than rye bourbons. So that 20% wheat that we put in there gives it a sweetness that most people would claim to be unfamiliar in the whiskey category. So I like to take advantage of that uniqueness and really push this bourbon. I mean, it's Rebel Yell. It's designed to not play by the rules. So I always like to do something really goofy with it and stretch it outside of its comfort zone. So I use it as rum in this particular cocktail.
Nice. No, and I love pineapple. I think that it's like one of those fruits that we don't see enough. It has such a wonderful kind of a sweet tart characteristic. And then obviously having the lime, that's going to have really beautiful aromatics that are typical in a daiquiri.
You bet. And I love fresh juice. I love this time of year. I mean, I know citrus, we live in a world where you can get citrus all year round, but this is a really good time for getting these pineapples, these citruses, these things like that. So
Nice.
we've done the wheated bourbon. We've done a little over a half ounce of lime juice. I'm going to do a half ounce of simple syrup. All right. And this is just 1 part sugar, 1 part water. It's real handy to make. I always keep about 4 ounces of it on hand because you never know when you need a little candy. And then I'm going to do 2 ounces of pineapple juice.
Nice. So what is like the what is the standard straight up daiquiri?
Standard straight up daiquiri is going to be clear rum, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of lime, and you can stir it or shake it. I always like to shake, but just ice cold sugar, lime, rum. Real 3 ingredients. That's all you need.
So when I was a kid, this is kind of going off, it's actually on topic. When I was a kid, my dad was military and would always host parties, lots of parties. But they always, I mean, this was like the 80s, and they always had frozen daiquiris. And so they would get like the frozen concentrated limeade and put that in the blender with a bunch of ice and a bunch of rum, and that was their drink.
And they were delicious.
Yes, they loved it. And my dad would make me, he called them kitteries, which didn't have the alcohol.
There you go.
I know.
Hey, you know, we're not going to start somewhere. Look at us.
I know.
So I got my lime wheel on there. The glass is prepped and ready. All I got to do is give this a nice good shake. Remember, when I shake, I shake it like I'm mad at it. I make sure that the drink hits the bottom and the top. And I don't shake up and down. I shake sideways, because more surface area equals more aeration and gives you a better, more balanced drink. So here I go. All right. If it's not stuck together, you didn't do it right. Somebody told me this is something we made up to look like we know what we're doing. When you shake that last drop in there, I feel like it works. Speaking of your parents being in the military and daiquiris back in the day, I am actually using a actual bar set that my grandfather, who was in the military, got in Hawaii back in the 50s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so this is a very authentic tiki tool set.
Nice.
And clearly it doesn't even fit with these modern day tools, but I make it work.
That's beautiful. Look at that color.
Yeah, the color and the good foam on top. Don't be afraid to push it. Go all the way to the top. That way you get that nice foam on there. I mean, this is going to be balanced. This is going to be a really nice, sweet, boozy drink. That whiskey gives it a nice big backbone, and all the mixers just make it perfect for some days you get to lay on the beach. Some days you need to lay in your driveway. But, you know, wherever you're laying, this is going to be a perfect drink for that. And, you know, I like to use the 80 proof because I like to have 5 of these. We do make 100 proof Rebel Yell, which really, really stands up in this drink as well.
So we have a question on the ingredients, and I have it right here. It's 2 ounces of the Rebel Yell, which is bourbon. We have 1 ounce of pineapple juice, half an ounce of lime juice, should be fresh. Don't get the stuff in the plastic. And then just a half ounce of simple, right?
That's all you need. So, and like I say, we're adding in pineapple to do a variation on this drink. And we're switching out our clear rum for a wheated bourbon. Other than that, it's a very traditional daiquiri recipe. And it's just delicious. It really is. So
I wish I could like go through the screen and have one.
Great everything. I wish you could see the top of this because it is just beautiful.
So next up, I think we're doing a shot together. Is that right?
Oh, thank goodness. I've been waiting all week for somebody to do a shot with me. One of those kind of scenarios. So, excuse me. Clear this out of the way.
Bernard says that it needs some maple syrup and it looks delicious.
Oh, pineapple and maple syrup, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that doesn't have me intrigued. So, I have been known to put sage or rosemary, or go into the herb garden and clip something and infuse that into there. I'm a sucker for tahini, and so if you rim your glass with tahini and then make that drink, that's pretty primo as well. Again, what's in your house, you can make this cocktail however you want. Get creative. Throw the kitchen sink in there.
Nice.
So, but here is a cocktail that does not involve a lot of thinking, herb gardens, or anything like that. This is a standard go-to for me. I love it. So I'm going to get my ice situated in there. I have 2 wonderful Lux Pro products. Yeah, there you go. You got to have a shaker tin of ice. Mm-hmm. You got to have a bottle of Ezra Brooks Bourbon Cream. And then you got to have a bottle of Rebel Yell Root Beer. All right? We make 2 flavors of whiskey in all of our portfolio. All right? We make a Rebel Yell Root Beer and a Rebel Yell Ginger, both of which are amazing. All right? The ginger and club soda, that's just a ready-to-go, low-calorie Moscow Mule. This root beer goes really well in a glass or a crazy straw. But whenever you put it with this Ezra Brooks Bourbon Cream, I call these root beer float shots, and it's pretty evident why. So I do equal parts.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know 1.5 ounces is always the proper pour, but I always like a 2-ounce drink. So I do a full ounce of my Rebel Yell Root Beer.
Hey, Dustin, real quick, where can you get that bourbon cream? We just had a question.
Oh, this bourbon cream is at almost any good retailer. So you can get it at grocery stores, liquor stores, convenience stores. It even comes in 50 mLs. You know, if you just need a little, hide a few around the house, whatever you want to do. So somebody made the joke that, I mean, now that you're not driving to work in the morning anymore, this is a great coffee creamer. You know, right? But again, it was just a joke.
Working from home has its perks.
Indeed it does. But what's really fun about the cream is really, I mean, Rebel Yell Root Beer, wheated, you add some root beer flavoring into that, and it really does a great job. But this cream is going to steal the show. All right, there's 2 ingredients in this. We use our 90 proof Ezra Brooks and then local Kentucky cream. That's all it needs. All right, whenever you use a lot of cream liqueurs from other countries, from other places, they'll tend to use 1% of the product of the namesake for alcohol, and then blend in a neutral grain spirit, which is essentially just vodka or moonshine, whatever you got, in order to hit that. This is, we promise you, it's 100% Ezra Brooks bourbon and cream, which is really what makes it such a good quality product. So.
Well, it's delicious. I just tried it on its own, and it's really nutty.
It's got a nuttiness to it. I mean, that's that rye spice. All right. It's that big grain that just shines through because we're not using any neutral grain. It's not over distilled. You're still getting a lot of that flavor, and then the cream just brings it home. So, all right, I gotta chill mine. You got a loaded shaker. Here we go.
Yep.
All right, don't forget to pretend you know what you're doing. Drip it in there. Right. So yeah, it's ice cold, it's foamy, and it's going to be a root beer float. And what's amazing about this, you asked where you can get this product, and they're normally in most stores available next to each other. You're looking at about $12 to get this one off the shelf, and about $15 to get this one off the shelf. So $27 gets you 32 of these at home. So that's
This would be something that would be really easy to pre-batch too.
Absolutely. If I know, back whenever people used to come over, we would just, pour a bottle and pour a bottle of each into a big pitcher and leave it in the fridge. That way it's already cold and ready. And, I like to do it as a shot. You could pour it over ice as a nightcap. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
It's delicious. It's sweet, and it really does have a root beer float. I mean, the root beer flavor is unmistakable.
It really hits home. I mean, it tastes like Route 66,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yum. That's good. I'll be making myself another one of these.
Oh, I needed that. Thank you. All right. So
there are also so John, is it Rempy? Is he your head distiller? Can you tell me a little bit about him?
John Rempy is our head distiller. He's a St. Louis boy. He was here for a long time. He created a lot of the flavors that you see on our Pearl portfolio, our vodkas. He's done a lot of great work. One of his opening positions out of college was working for Coca-Cola. He really made a name for himself in the flavors world. But he decided that soft drinks were boring. And so he went back to school, learned distillation, and is now the head distiller for Lux Row Distillery. And he does a fantastic job. And, we really said from the beginning that flavors weren't really, our focus or anything like that when it comes to bourbon. But when somebody as gifted as Rempy hands you something as amazing as this root beer and this ginger, you go, okay. I mean, we don't have a black cherry or a honey or, anything like that. But these two flavors are unique to us, and they do a really, really good job. So
Awesome. Very cool. So the next one is gin, and I love gin. So this one I'm excited about. I mean, this kind of has all of my favorite things. It's gin, grapefruit juice, and sparkling wine all in one cocktail.
I could not be more excited. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually my world premiere of working with Bowling and Burch, all right? You know, it took something this amazing for me to finally get my hands on a bottle. It's a great product. It's been highly anticipated in a lot of circles. You know, it's one of the few gins that gets to boast a made in Kentucky name tag. So I think that that's really special. You don't see that a lot. But we took our time on bringing this to market. So we've been talking about it internally for a very long time, but we took our time because it really started with a garden. All right. I mean, once we decided we wanted to make a gin, then we started creating a recipe. And once we really knew what we wanted to put in it, we started growing it all ourselves. And we did that before we really put it out into production. So we're very excited to be in complete control of this production from start to finish. That means a lot for the quality of any product on any shelf.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I like gin, because it has that botanical profile, but every distiller can kind of put its own, spin on it, depending on the botanicals that you use. Juniper is the only botanical that is required, obviously, to call gin. But so this is a new world style. Can you talk about the difference between what an old world style gin is, like a London dry gin, and what this is?
I believe your older gins are going to be more of your juniper focused, distilled product that didn't taste very good. So we had this very aromatic plant that we decided to put in there, and then that masked all the badness, and then it would be great for sailing around the world, and you could drink it and be happy about it. We've kind of moved past that bathtub part of gin's history, and we've gotten into an age where we understand the science of botanicals and extraction and all these kinds of things. I'm watching our master distiller. So this doesn't come out of Lux Row. This comes out of our small craft distillery, Limestone Branch, where Stephen Bean is actually our head distiller. He is a 7th generation distiller from a direct descendant of the Bean family, of the good Colonel Jimmy himself. And so that's pretty fun. But he opened this distillery, Limestone Branch, to keep that Bean distilling legacy alive. But his passion has always been horticulture. And so, yes, he makes some wonderful whiskey, including a heritage brand that was created by his ancestors, Yellowstone Bourbon. And then he makes minor case rye, which is a heritage to his great-grandfather. But this is 100% his. This is his passion, his dream. And watching him create this over the years was fascinating. He had a nice little table tent still. Just something makes about 4 ounces at a time, just sits there on the table. And he put all these little things in there, distill something, taste it, go back to the drawing board. It was like watching Wile E. Coyote try to catch the Roadrunner. But I think he finally did it. So
yeah. Okay, so take us through the cocktail.
Okay, so this is brunch. I love brunching. And so I love gin. And so I wanted to go summery. I wanted to go brunch. So we're going to do a grapefruit rosemary mimosa. All right. So it's going to be an ounce of gin and an ounce of grapefruit. So I got my gin in there. While I was putting all this together, I found some of my old bar tools. So I'm going to get a little extra on you. I got a spritzer that plugged right into this grapefruit.
Oh, cool.
My glass, just a nice spritz, coat it in that grapefruit.
Where can I get my hands on one of those?
These are pretty nice. It actually came as a set with my juicer, which I do have some nice grapefruit juice right here, but I squeezed the lime. I'm going to squeeze the grapefruit as well. But I really like using this juicer that came with this spritzer. They're just really fun. You know, this was not a paid ad, so I don't think I get to tell you the brand. But these are fun to use. Here, I'll move this right up here, and then you just stick that right in there.
Nice.
And look how the juice just comes right out.
That's great.
Freshly juiced grapefruit, some brand new Bowling Burch Gin made by a man who's been dreaming of making gin. So this guy makes great whiskey. This is his first gin. He studied horticulture his whole life. I can't believe that this gin is going to be anything less than amazing. But I'm going to, before I chill it, we are going to put some rosemary in this drink as well. And I like to just stick a couple of leaves inside of my drink, so that way I can get a little bit of that flavor in there, and I'll stick the rest of it, boom, right in there as a really nice garnish. So we got all our grapefruit aromatics. We got some rosemary. If you really want to take it to the next level, don't forget to spank your herbs, ladies and gentlemen. Give it a nice spank, and then I'm going to chill that up. All right. Oh, man. As I opened that, the whole room just filled with the aromatics. Now, I'm going to double strain this drink. Since I put those leaves in there, all right, they broke up really well with the ice, and I just macerated them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got all blended in there. But you don't want a bunch of little green flecks getting into your drinks at brunch. And then, you know, you see a girl at the table across from you, you want to go talk to, and you smile at her. Exactly right. That's no good. Right? Drinks should never, ever be your blocker. So I'm going to strain out all that rosemary in there with just this common tea strainer. No problem.
Nice.
So we got gin and grapefruit. And we're going to add some bubbles. And I got this nice, cute little bottle of Moet.
So fun.
They do actually like you to say Moet now. It was Moet for a little while. Now they've gone back to Moet. So, but here we go. It's got a real cork in it. You got to appreciate that. Most of your 187s come with those plastic corks. Opa!
There you go. Nice.
Baby opa. But and then we're just going to top that right in there.
Oh, beautiful.
It's going to be really nice. This is one of those, you get a pitcher of grapefruit and a carafe of gin and a bottle of champagne. You can make a couple of these, be right on target.
That's great. So, Dustin, when you're getting products like the gin or the root beer whiskey or, you know, whatever it is, how do you start playing around with ideas for these cocktails? You know, because you're taking classics, you're giving them a spin. It's obviously very personal for you. So what's your process of playing with it?
That's a great question. First, you always get to know the spirit. You know, I mean, some spirits are designed to be, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the rum and coke. And there are rums that are made to be rum and coke rums, you know. There are gins that are made to be gin and tonic gins, and that's about as far as they get to go. This makes a great gin and tonic, but the story here goes a little further than that. So you get to know the gin, the spirit, you get to taste it, and really decide, you know, who's the drinker of this. You know, like I like to pretend that I'm so and so. I'm a fancy banker and I'm drinking this, or you know, I've had a hard day in the coal mine and I'm drinking this. You know, like what do I want to come home to? You know, I mean, who's my target audience? And then you kind of get to, you give the spirit a personality, and then you can start to build drinks that match that personality. Yeah. You know, that's a lot how I did it behind the bar. You know, it only took about a minute or two for me to get to know somebody before I could say, I think I got the perfect drink for you. You know, and then just go make them something based on what I've just learned. So it's fun. I can't wait to try this. I'm sorry.
No. Dive in there. I wish I was with you. How is it?
The aromatics hit you, like I say, just as you're bringing it. That rosemary is perfect. Spraying it with the grapefruit was a great extra move. It delivers. You get all that citrus right as it comes up, and then the rosemary hits you really good. And that gin, it stays on the palate just a little bit. You get all those great herbs in there. I mean, this is almost like a fresh citrus salad. It's bubbly and aromatic. I mean,
Except with booze in it.
mhm. All salads should have booze in it.
Right, right. So, okay, so Dustin, we don't have much time left. So, some of the tools that you have are really cool, like the spritzer and like that really cool, it's not really a reamer, but it's kind of a reamer. Like for someone who is kind of like tentative, maybe thinking, I want to start playing with some cocktails and they don't have stuff at home, what do you really need to be able to make good cocktails at home?
I think that's a great question. A mixing glass, which could be as simple as a pint glass, or as fancy as a Yari, a $90 piece of cut crystal. You don't need that for your first Manhattan, But if you make Manhattans 5 days a week, invest in something nice, So you should have a mixing glass. You should have a shaker tin and a strainer. I have 3 different strainers that we used here today. A classic, a high end, and then this is just your regular. This is the one you need, and you can get this for 99 cents on Amazon. I don't think that the strain rays go for that price. But shaker, a strainer, a bar spoon. All right. Everybody talks about bar spoons, but I know you could use a lot of anything. But if you follow the ridges on this bar spoon, that is a lot of what that's going to help it spin in your hand and help you really learn that bar spoon technique. Once you have and a mudlet, once you have those, you can make a lot of drinks. I can't think of any classic cocktail that requires you to stick a spritzer into a fresh piece of citrus.
No, except that's just cool, and I want one.
So it's super fun, and I use it again. It does a great rinse on a glass. I do actually spray down my salads with a little lemon sometimes. You can do a lot with that. So, they are really, really fun. After that, really I have a pair of herb scissors, which has proven to be extremely beneficial in some of my, syrups and preps that I'm doing for those kinds of situations. But, and containers. I can't stress containers enough. Whether it's a small bottle like this, or a nice quart store and pour, if you're going to spend all your time making something, you got to have something to put it in,
Yeah.
So containers are big for me too.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for making this half hour extremely happy. It was really fun, Dustin. Yeah. So we're going to do this again next Thursday, 5:00, same time. We'll do 3 more cocktails. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
We're going to bring in our Ezra Bourbon, our rye, and some Pearl vodka. I got a really good cucumber martini we're going to make next week, so I'm excited.
Nice. Awesome. And obviously these recipes are going to be available. So if anybody's wondering, like, where do you get it? If you go to feastmagazine.com, you're going to be able to get the recipes. And do you guys have it as well?
I'm sure if we don't post it ourselves, we'll copy yours.
Okay, perfect. Well, I will see you next weekend. Next Thursday. All right.
Be good.
Cheers.
Cheers.